All right, I thought I would do some start adding some drawing exercises or just demonstration of what I do just to kind of goof around when I'm working from memory. Um, and I'll try to talk about what I think about. First of all, this laptop screen is a very cramped space, and I did try an app on a larger screen that I have, and that actually makes a difference because you could dial down the thickness of your drawing tool. Um, so that does make a difference. I just haven't transferred everything to make a demo from a bigger screen. So I'm working from a laptop. So what it does is it affects the poses that I try to come up with. For the most part, it does. Because it's landscape oriented rather than portrait, and that kind of dictates what I'm going to do with the figure. So, but it doesn't matter. I'm just making figures. Different poses. It doesn't matter. I don't have any. Probably my go-to would be to kind of do some kind of superhero kind of pose like this. Just because that's what I grew up looking at quite a bit, right? Um, so just to kind of, and that's not even as good as that. That should be better. Um, just to kind of give you an idea. It doesn't help when I kind of speed it up. Because when you speed things up, sometimes you revert to older methods of doing things or older understandings of doing things. And what I've found is straight lines, when you're drawing the figure, don't work. You have to do some curved. You have to do curved lines. Straight lines are good for design, but they don't really kind of give you any kind of sense of real. Like a fluid line looks more observed than a straight line does to me. So that's kind of the thing that I would normally do. But when I'm working like this, what I'll start doing is I'll draw the 3 points of the pelvis: anterior, superior iliac spines, pubic tubercle. And from that, you have your, well, I guess it would become up higher. You have your lower abdominals, navel, because it's tied down to the pelvis. Now it's like, what do I want to do with the legs? How about if I draw the lower leg here? So that tells me, and there's the knee. That tells me where the thigh is going to be. How it connects to the pelvis. The foot. We don't know what's going to happen. Some of these things might change. Lower leg, the leg, the other side, probably bent at the knee. Sometimes I come up with a nice fluid representation of the foot. Since basically you all are watching me now, probably not going to do anything quite right. So this is the pelvis. I've got that worked out. Now I'm thinking about the rib cage, and I'm thinking about the upper abdominal portion of the rib cage that goes upper abdominal portion that goes over the rib cage, and then the next part is underneath, like in the thoracic cavity. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm trying to connect it to the lower abdominals. But this tells me where the rib cage is. That's the sternum. Um, and so from that, the external obliques here are stretched out. Here they're convex. You have your pectoralis muscles that connect on the rib cage a certain way. I usually these days put the nipple in just as a way to kind of position the pectoralis. So this is serratus plus external oblique, serratus, external oblique. That's what these lines represent. And then you have a nice convexity, which is from that is the latissimus dorsi. Comes back towards the and sometimes if you can't, like, sometimes you could put some contour lines in there to kind of tell some foreshortening. If that helps. I don't know if it's helping this drawing or not. This leg isn't really well drawn, but we're getting started. So I'm going to have this arm reaching out. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll connect the deltoid with the pectoralis. So what am I going to do with this arm? So this is the deltoid. We want to do the clavicles coming forward. This is the biceps coming towards the armpit. This would be the triceps underneath it. We could have a fist is a little bit easier to kind of draw than an open hand, because it's just a kind of a rounded form, right? So here's the what this hand is doing. This one is reaching, I guess we could say. So again, biceps to the armpit, triceps, which biceps peaks over here, triceps might peak over here closer to the armpit, and then the back of the arm, the extensor muscles. There's the ridge muscles there, and then that straight, and then down below the flexor muscles are a little fuller, and so the hand, I'm running out of room, and it could be that the neck, the head, you could position whatever way you want. Say I want it to be positioned like that. This neck muscles come from this part of the oval to the clavicle, and then the trapezius behind it. So yeah, I don't like this lower leg. What I could do is I can move any of the parts I want. Now that I've kind of laid out the position of the pelvis and or rib cage. So what do we do with this arm? We could probably, this leg. Let's see. Yeah, when you're doing something at the same time and trying to talk at the same time, sometimes you don't get things right. So I do that a lot, and I know that's noticed. All right, so the knee right there. So it looks like a kind of a beefcake pose. I don't want it to. It's just I'm working with the horizontal element of the laptop. If this was the other way, I'd do a standing figure. I could try to do standing figure, I just run out of room. So sometimes I'll do exercises like that's the upper body, this is the lower body, and then this is the leg, and then this is the leg. Put the knees, even though the legs are positioned uh, differently. One's bent. You know, they still kind of line up at the same place. They're still level to each other somehow. Um, so this is just kind of an exercise again. This is more of a feminine type pose. Knees. So let's try a different pose. Let's try from the side or something like that. Pelvis. What do we want to do with the legs? So this one comes straight down, and then so we've got the pelvis tilted this way. But say I want the rib cage to do the opposite and turn away from the pelvis. So like the pelvis is facing this way. Maybe we want the rib cage to does it project more? Let's see. And then the pelvis is tilted, the external obliques will come down like that. The pectoralis muscles put the nipples in there just to kind of help us know where we are. And again, serratus, external oblique, latissimus dorsi comes back here. What are we going to do? Let's see, when I run out of room, that's when I have to kind of make decisions. Deltoid, which I have connected to the pectoralis muscle. We can have the biceps there, triceps. How about the hand? Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes this doesn't work out. Just trying to come up with something. I guess I can move this down a little bit. Let's see. How about the arm comes up, biceps, and then we could have the head I guess since I'm running out of room, I'm going to have the head tilted, but then the neck comes down to the clavicle, and then the trapezius behind it. So yeah, I botched on this part, but you know, I could erase it and try it again, and maybe I have to start from up here. Maybe have the arms come up, triceps, biceps. So yeah, this would be a the arms are up. So I guess let's see what happens if I so biceps come up, elbow. This is the flexor muscles below the forearm, the bottom are fuller than the extensor muscles. So, you know, it's not great. These are doodles. I'm just showing you what I think about, like, I could refine this. I could always refine this a lot more. Does that still transform? So I lost by bringing it down. I lost it. But you know, I could always kind of like go back into it and say, pick out the lines that I like. You know. What else? One thing I noticed, you have to kind of like decide to mix it up a little bit, because you do fall in a rut and just keep doing the same things. But so I have my rib cage, my pelvis kind of established in this way. But then I want to turn the rib cage over here, right? So let's see. Sometimes it doesn't work the way you want it to. But you can usually make it work. Like this whole area might be a bit of a problem, because I want to have the external obliques in there, gluteus medius. That's probably more. That's probably more like it. This is a little crooked, but let's see. Normally I don't run into this kind of a problem, but I'm just trying to make it work even. I'm just trying to show that when you go places that you didn't want to, you can still pull through. One thing I'll think of a lot is convexity, straight line, convexity, straight line, convexity, straight line, convexity, straight line. right now I'm just kind of like doodling. I'm not even really thinking through. Um, but the idea is that the convexity is the full muscle, straight line is a tendon, full muscle, tendon, or the straight line is a joint. And so if you think about the series of convexity straight, you can make up something without knowing what you're doing. Like this would be a made up arm. You know, uh, it's a muscular arm, right? When it starts to work better is when you alternate some of that stuff. So you have that up high, straight, up high, um, low, straight, high, straight, straight, low. That's when it starts to work out a little bit better for you. Is when you know that this idea of alternating peaks. Um, that's one of the things. This is just the stuff I was thinking about. Just an exercise you could goof around with if you want to.